Oh, thanks so much. It is a pretty good report. We want to see this kind of job creation month over month for sure, even though it was shy of the most economists' expectations, which called for 490,000 jobs added to the economy in the month of March. Always good to see the unemployment rate moving lower. It did move lower by 3.6%. My issue with this report is a big portion of the jobs created in the month of March were low-paying jobs. You're talking about jobs in leisure, hospitality, retail. These are low-paying jobs.
We would normally, Maria, historically be celebrating the fact that average hourly earnings over the past 12 months are up 5.6%. That's great for the average American worker if it weren't for inflation at 7.9%.
Right.
So everything more that the American worker is earning is getting wiped out by the high price of just about everything. And Maria, you dig into all of this, and now you see the answer to these sky-high gas prices to tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And we all know that is putting Band-Aid on a problem. Even just in the most recent releases, we've only seen prices continue to go up after the release of those reserves.
Tell you what, I do not like watching Fox News, but there is nothing else I'd rather watch than Maria Bartiromo having to report through gritted teeth on yet another stellar jobs report by Joe Biden. This past month, the Biden administration oversaw the U.S. economy adding a staggering 431,000 new jobs, and the unemployment rate ticked down yet again from 3.8% to 3.6%, just a tenth of a point away from hitting its 50-year low. If we could get 90 straight minutes of Maria Bartiromo squirming in her seat over the hundreds of thousands of jobs this president is adding, I'd pay to watch it in theaters. Now, of course, she does throw a bunch of excuses as to why actually this is a bad jobs report, which is ironic considering her deity, Donald Trump, oversaw a net loss of 3 million jobs. So you'd think that even one job added each month is a step up from that, but then again, the cognitive dissonance hasn't interfered before, so why should it have any impact now? She complains that the majority of jobs created in the month of March were low-paying jobs. Now, first of all, the jobs report saw hourly pay rise sharply, pushing the increase over the last 12 months to 5.6%. So a pretty strange takeaway to look at that and complain about wages. But second of all, it's certainly interesting that Maria Bartiromo's priority here is high wages, considering the party she shills for has never supported a minimum wage increase. So on one hand, she's complaining about low wages, and on the other hand, not a single elected official that she supports has ever actually advocated for any semblance of higher wages. But hey, again, why let that cognitive dissonance get in the way of her blindly spouting words that have no bearing in reality? They also bring up inflation, which, to be fair, is a serious issue. But inflation is an issue everywhere. We know that in the European Union, prices are rising faster than at any time since the euro currency was introduced. Inflation in the UK is at its highest point in 30 years. Canada's consumer prices are rising twice as fast as before the pandemic. Even in Japan, where prices are notoriously depressed, the central bank revised upward its assessment of inflation risks for the first time in 8 years. The very simple truth is that the pandemic impacted global supply chains to a degree never seen before, and it's gonna take some time before those supply chain constraints are alleviated. But A, to use this as a cudgel against Biden just betrays that you're either pretending to or don't know anything about basic economics, and B, it doesn't change the fact that even despite these worldwide challenges, our jobs reports are phenomenal. Remember, our recovery after the Great Recession took almost a decade. This time, because we had Democrats in charge who knew not to make the same mistakes that Republicans made a decade ago, because we had Democrats in charge who passed the American Rescue Plan, because we had Democrats in charge who were willing to give relief to regular people instead of millionaires and billionaires for once, this recovery took, 12 months? This isn't an accident, this is the benefit of having Democrats in charge. And finally, Sandra Smith complains about gas prices and says that Biden releasing 1 million barrels a day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is just putting a Band-Aid on a problem. And she's right, because the actual solution to this problem is to move away from fossil fuels. Because for as long as we've relied on fossil fuels, we've contended with the exact same problems that we're contending with right now. For my entire life, we have always dealt with high gas prices. And newsflash, that will never go away. Those oil companies that profited billions and billions of dollars this past year, they will never keep all of that oil in the US because their priority isn't domestic energy security, their priority is profits. And so they will continue to export oil if they can turn a better profit elsewhere, just like they do now. So we can wail until we're blue in the face to drill in the US, but oil is sold on a global market. And just like the Keystone XL pipeline would have exported American oil overseas, all oil companies would continue to export that US oil to other countries because their only priority is money. And if you don't understand that, then you need to stop listening to Republicans whose own re-election campaigns are all funded by those exact same companies. So while American oil gets exported abroad now and will always be exported abroad, remember that a solar panel in California or a wind turbine in Texas keeps that energy here. So when those Republicans grandstand about energy security, just know that they are simultaneously blocking the one thing that would actually make us energy secure. Fossil fuels are not only finite, they're not only expensive, they're not only killing this planet, but our refusal to wholly embrace renewables, which, to be clear, are the future, is only ceding that business and that power to our adversaries like China. If we want China to own the future, then we should keep doing exactly what we're doing now. But if we want to ever stand a chance, then stop listening to Republicans who think that subsidizing a dying fossil fuel industry is the solution. It's not. They're just pretending because they like cashing those checks and they don't give a shit about anything else beyond their own power. In the meantime, thank God we have a president in office and majorities in Congress who understand how to navigate a recovery and who know that it's not yet another excuse to just throw money at millionaires and billionaires. That we're on the cusp of the lowest unemployment rate in our lifetimes is a testament to the fact that these people know what they're doing. So if you're looking to keep adding jobs and to keep seeing higher wages, then vote for Democrats. But if your only priority is culture wars and coddling billionaires, well then you know what to do too. So yeah, take all the time you need with that one. To see more videos like this, click the subscribe button right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work, subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I cover the most important stories each week, and my guest is always one of the top political figures, including Vice President Kamala Harris, Jen Psaki, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Nancy Pelosi, Katie Porter, Cory Booker, and so many more. The podcast link is also right here on this screen, so give it a listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.